Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Tuesday, February the 25th, 2025, and disappointing night last night. Jason Moloney going down to Tenshin Nasukawa over 10 rounds. And looking at a really hard fought contest. It was always going to be really hard to win over there, not just in the ring, but you're in Japan, and we all know how it goes with fighting overseas. Happens all over the world, by the way. I'm not just saying Japan, but it's very, very tough to win in someone else's backyard. But look, a good, solid performance from Jason. Tried his heart out right up until the last bell. He was punching like he did against Takai as well, down on the cards, but just did not stop coming forward. And you dropped a 10-round decision. I can't actually remember the score. I think it was 97-93 times 2, and I think 98-92. So 8 rounds to 2, I think, is a little bit overstretched. Look, I had it 6 rounds to 4 for Tenshin Nasukawa, so 96-94. Yeah, no arguments with the decision. I thought Jason started really well. I think I said in the lead up to it that I thought that, and originally I thought it was a 12-round fight, and when I realised it was a 10. I knew it was going to be a tough one because Jason's not the best starter usually, and it's not by any fault of his or anything like that. He's just the type of fighter that just grinds you down and wears you down. He's a lot like a typical Mexican fighter in that they just go through the gears through the fight. They start in first, and by the end of it, they're in fifth or overdrive, whatever it might be, and it just takes him a while to get going. And he really, and I actually think I said that I thought at the halfway mark that he'd have to win, a couple of those early rounds. Even if he was behind after round 5, to be sort of 3-2 down, I thought he could really come home over the top of Nasukawa. And it surprised me how well he started, because I thought that Nasukawa would be, and he was, lightning quick with his hands, really good on his feet. That kickboxing background, just lightning quick, just the changes of angles and everything like that, and of course the punches coming at Jason. And I thought he started well. I thought he landed some good shots in the first round. I gave him that first round, and I thought at the time, wow, this is, if you wanted a great start, this was it. But then I thought, I'm not sure whether it was by design or instructions in the corner, or Tenshin Nasukawa actually did it himself, but he started to really utilise the ring a lot more and angles. And Jason just tends to struggle a little bit with fighters who are fast on their feet and fast with their hands, like probably a lot of fighters do. But because of that style, he's not the most graceful guy, Jason. With his body movement, as I said, he's like that Mexican type of fighter who likes to go through the gears, and Jason was having trouble sort of cutting him off. Tenshin Nasukawa, as I said, whether it was by design or just as he got into the groove of the fight and saw what Jason had, really used those little pivots off to the side. He'd go left, he'd go right, and really made it hard for Jason to cut the ring off. And even when he traded with Jason, I thought he did quite well. But then I thought, what was it, about the 5th round, I think it was, where Jason hurt him. I can't remember what round it was, but Jason had him going, and Tenshin Nasukawa, to his detriment, started to really stand in centre of the ring and trade with Jason, which is exactly what Jason wanted. And I actually thought, when Jason hurt him, what was the round? Because he hit him, was it the 6th? I haven't watched the replay, so forgive me if I'm wrong. I'll watch it later today, but I think it was the 6th where Jason hit him with that right hand, and he was this far from hitting the deck. I thought either his knee or his glove or whatever touched the canvas, but looking at the replays, it didn't. I thought that would be a 10-8 round. But then for the remainder of the round, Jason absolutely punished Nasukawa. And I thought, this is it, he's going to stop him, because Nasukawa looked gassed. He was struggling, he was starting to clinch. I think he was bleeding at that stage. And I thought Jason has probably come a couple of rounds earlier than what I thought it would, because I thought Jason would sort of cut him down as the fight went on. And after that round, I was very confident that Jason would get the job done. But then, to Nasukawa's credit, he obviously got instructions in the corner. He went back to being on the the outer ring and using those angles and his punches, and he was really looking for that big left uppercut up the middle as well, and he just sort of made it really hard for Jason to get to him. And look, again, as I said, Jason tried his absolute heart out right to the bell, and I think he even had Nasukawa in a little bit of trouble in the last round. Maybe it was more so by fatigue, but yeah, just couldn't get the job done. And again, I said last night during the watch along that Jason can just struggle with those types of fighters. And there were some comments afterwards about, well, is that it for Jason? Well, I don't think so. I mean, it's not like he was outclassed or stopped or dominated. I mean, it was a good fight, a really good fight. He just happened to not win enough rounds. That's just the way it goes. I just think he, again, with those types of fighters, he's just got to be matched properly. And I totally get it that he has gone to Japan for those big fights, big money, a lot better money they can get here. So I have no dramas with it. And I think he's got plenty left in the tank. I really do. I know he's 34. But bar one or two, hasn't been in a lot of wars. I think the Sanchez fight and obviously the Inoue fight were tough fights for Jason. There's been a few more along the way, but overall hasn't taken a lot of punishment, and he looks after himself so well. So does Andrew. That I think he's got plenty of big fights. The only worry, of course, is where do those fights come from? I'm pretty sure he's not with Top Rank at the moment. Japan, I'm not sure. He's had the last 2 fights over there. Whether there's anyone else he could possibly fight, I don't know. But and I'm not sure there's much here in Australia. I would hope so. Surely a No Limit or a Tasman or someone would see Jason as and Andrew for that matter as great fighters to have on their rosters. So who knows? But one thing I won't agree with is that Jason is done in the ring, because I thought he actually looked really good. I thought he looked in sensational shape. I thought his jab was great. His body shots were great, but it just comes down to the type of fighter that he fights. He's always going to struggle with the fleet-footed, fast hands type of guy. And his best wins have come over guys that have actually stood still for a little bit and allowed him to do his work. So, but yeah, just super proud of Jason. I just admire fighters like him, and Andrew and George and Tim and Liam, all the ones that have gone overseas to chase greatness. And no disrespect to the ones that have done it here, but the ones that it means a little bit more when you go overseas. And we all know how hard it is for overseas fighters to win here. Well, obviously it's the same when we go over there. And they did call Jason the Road Warrior there for a while. Well, I think, when was the last time he fought in Australia? It would be a couple of years, wouldn't it? So, yeah, but as I said, super proud of Jason, and I think he's got more left in the tank. It's just a matter of what's going to come now. But looked in good spirits after the fight. Look, the thing is, all you can do is your best. That's it. That's all you can do. And a lot of fans, they analyse the fight and they go over all the stats and they look at all these different reasons why fighters won or lost or why they should retire or whatever it might be. But end of the day, sometimes, look, there's 2 fighters in there and one of them's got to lose. And some of the comments you read afterwards, it just makes you laugh, what they have to say. But look, you know, all you can do is your best. And I think when you get out of the ring last night like Jason did, I'm sure as disappointed as he would have sat down and went, you know what? I did everything I possibly could to win this fight, and it just didn't happen, and you can live with it. The hardest fights or the hardest things to live with is when you get out of that ring and the tank is not empty. That's when it's hard to accept. And I think in the cold light of day, Jason will be fine. So the kid's going to school there. So, yeah, so all the best to Jason going forward. Come over this way, mate. In the main event. Come here, man. Let's go. Let's cross over. In the main event, Junto Nakatani with a 3rd round, knockout. Come here, man. Let's go. Of David Kuala. Pretty predictable. I did expect a better performance from Kuala, if I'm being honest. I did watch a fair bit of him. Come on, man. On the wrong side of the road here. I did expect more from him. I watched a fair bit of him in the lead up to it. I thought the fact he could match Nakatani's size, he might be a bit more durable. Mexican fighters, of course, are you know, very, very tough, very hard to get out of there. And I thought he had, you know, a really good rip to the body, could do some damage. But Nakatani made it look easy, didn't he? You could tell sort of straight away that Nakatani's speed was going to be a massive factor in the fight. That Koala was just too slow on his feet with his hands. And, sorry, just on the hill here. And Nakatani made him pay. And what was the third round? Yeah, one-sided beat down. And just a nice, easy night's work for Junto Nakatani. What was odd about the whole thing though was when he actually knocked him down, it was twice he knocked him down, didn't he? And the second one, there was no way he was going to get up from that. I think he knew he was beat, but it was the crowd. The crowd just, it was almost like dead silence and a little round of applause for the job well done from the Junto Nakatani. You know, that was here in Australia or, you know, in England or something like that, the crowd would have been going absolutely nuts. He would have been jumping on the top ropes, doing backflips, all this sort of stuff. And he just bowed, thanked the crowd, did his interview. And what I liked about it as well, even with Tenshin Nasukawa as well, how respectful they are. But also, they get the next opponents in the ring. You would have seen that the Takai got in the ring after Tenshin and Jason's fight, and they talk respectfully about each other. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but it looked like it was respectful anyway. The crowd clapped, so I'm assuming it was. But they bow to each other, do the fist bump or shake hands, and just agree that that fight's next, and let's get it on. I love it. It is the way it should be. Give me that any day over the shit that we see from some of the Americans and that overseas. Not just Americans, but mainly the Americans. But yeah, just a good night of boxing, and yeah, thanks to everyone that come along for the ride and the watch along. Now also Tim Tszyu and Joey Spencer it hasn't been officially announced. I think that's going to happen today, or I think today or tomorrow. But I did get an email yesterday about corporate packages and all this sort of stuff for the fight. So yeah, so that's April 6th, Newcastle. Good price tickets. So if you're in the area, get up there and check it out. Yesterday as well, some bad news with the passing of Greg Haugen. Now this sort of hit hard a little bit yesterday because Greg Haugen, he passed away from cancer at the age of 64. Just a great, well, no, sorry, I'm not going to say that. Not a great fighter, not a great champion, but he was a great competitor and a great ambassador for the sport. He really was. Won the IBF lightweight title back in 1985 over Jimmy Paul. Fought the likes of Vinny Pazienza. Who can forget those 3 wars with Vinny Pazienza? Even though I was a Paz fan, I had to admire Greg Haugen. He was tough as nails. He really was. First fighter to beat Hector Camacho in that big upset. Beat Ray Mancini as well, and that massive fight against Julio Cesar Chavez, 132,000 fans in Mexico City. And the type of guy that he was, he taunted Julio Cesar Chavez in the lead up to the fight in Mexico City. He was never going to win the fight. Accused Julio Cesar Chavez of fighting cab drivers, and afterwards he was asked about it and said, well, they must have been pretty tough cab drivers because he's a great fighter. And he also fought Pernell Whitaker as well, who he lost his IBF lightweight title to, and just a great character of the sport. And as I said, a great warrior of the sport. And he'll be missed. And I wasn't aware he was sick. Apparently he had cancer, I think it was 2023. And as I said, passed away yesterday. And yeah, he'll be missed. And look, I suppose it's every era has the fighters, and as you get older and you hear about fighters that aren't doing well or have passed away or whatever it might be, it does sort of tug at the heartstrings, because these are the people we grew up with, not just fighters. I'm talking about footy players, even actors and all that sort of stuff. It's a really a connection to your youth or just your life growing up, and it's almost like a little phase of your life has died as well. But little poodle in the window over there barking at Neil. But yeah, I'm sure we've all been through it. And I'm at the age now, I'm 50 now, and yeah, you see a lot of the people you grew up with in sport and entertainment all starting to pass away, and yeah, it can get a little bit hard to swallow sometimes or accept, but that's life, isn't it? So all the best to Greg Haugen's family, and rest in peace. Just one thing before we finish up today. Floyd Mayweather has pretty much accepted that he is to blame for, the circus boxing that we see these days. You remember back in 2017, who can forget it, the fight with Conor McGregor? That was a catalyst for the Jake Pauls and all these, who's the other one out there, KSI, and all this misfits boxing and all that shit that they're putting out there at the moment. He's pretty much accepted that he was to blame. It was that fight that sort of spawned all this YouTube and circus boxing that we see at the moment. And, you know, and he actually almost took credit, not credit, well, it's not really creditable, but blame for what's happened to Conor McGregor since then, because the amount of money he made from that fight, he's pretty much, his career went right off track after that, and he's really struggled outside the ring with different things. It's amazing what money does to people, isn't it? And fame and everything else. But the good news is that we're starting to come out of it, I think. The fact that, and I think Turki Al-Sheikh, as much as Floyd Mayweather is to blame for this situation, I think Turki Al-Sheikh is to credit now for us coming out of this circus boxing bullshit that we've been in, where anyone thinks they can fight anyone. And the young fans coming through sort of see the level of Jake Paul and these types of guys as a standard of boxing, and they don't appreciate the true art and the great champions that we've had over the years and currently still have at the moment. So I'm glad that he sort of accepted it, and more glad that Turki Al-Sheikh is putting an end to this madness. So anyway, what do you guys think? So guys, that will probably do it for today. About to jump in the car and head to work and get little Neil back home. So have a great Tuesday, and we will catch you tomorrow.